All right, what up, Who Dat Nation? Thanks for checking out No Cap, No Filter Saints. I'm your host, Molly G, and we're going to talk about the interesting matchups that the Saints versus the Texans will withhold. And we're going to talk about the O-line shakeup. Can Trevor be on the move to the bench? But before we get into that, we got to talk about this Saints versus Texans preview. It's got a lot of interesting matchup this game. One of the main interesting matchups I'm looking forward to seeing is Cliff Kingsbury offense versus Dennis Allen's defense. Last season, Cliff Kingsbury was the head coach of the Cardinals. They beat us, you know. He was basically calling the offensive plays. He's an offensive head coach. And, Dennis Allen, he calls the defensive plays. They beat us with Kyler Murray, and now this time around he's not a head coach anymore, but he's the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans with C.J. Stroud, and he has C.J. Stroud looking pretty good. I mean, C.J. Stroud hasn't thrown a pick all year. He made history for, a quarterback making 5 starts and not throwing an interception for the amount of attempts he's thrown. And he also hasn't been sacked the last 3 games. So C.J. Stroud is really looking like going to be offensive, rookie of the year or just rookie of the year in general. I think that Dennis Allen going to have to end this narrative of mobile quarterbacks getting the best of his defenses versus rookies. We're actually 8-2. So we do pretty good against rookies. I think those 2 games that we did lose was probably to rookies making a first start against us with no film. That's what I think it really is. Like when we don't get no film on nobody, like that makes it a little bit more difficult because you don't know what to expect. But I do believe that the same way we was on Pete Carmichael head for putting play actions and motions into his offense, I think the same way we need to be on D.E. head for not letting rookies, get the best of his defenses, Well, that narrative already been put to bed, but, just to end that, we need to just beat all the rookies that we play this year. And I also think that the mobile quarterback narrative need to just be put to sleep. Like, we can't let this dude rush, especially on 3rd down and extend drives. Like, that was the main thing that killed us when it came to Baker Mayfield and Jordan Love. Like, extending these drives on these critical 3rd downs, especially when it's 3rd and long. It's just backbreaking, man. When you get a quarterback in his backfield and he just, make a play, it's just devastating to the defense, especially when it's right there and he just so elusive and he just escape a sack. Man, I still got nightmares to think about how Joe Burrow just escaped that sack last season on us when Trey Henderson took the wrong angle. I think that was the game-changing play right there. But anyway, mobile quarterbacks have to, get put in a place against this defense if we want to call this defense elite. And, we got to rush the passer better. Like, I think we did a good job versus Mac Jones, but that was Mac Jones and the Patriots offense. They don't really have any playmakers, so it was kind of easy to suffocate that offense with our defense. I want to see it against an offense that's really doing well, and this is going to be a big test for us. Now, they might be without Tank Dell. Tank Dell has been a real solid receiver. I've been hearing about this dude before he was even drafted to the Texans. A lot of guys were wanting the Saints to get him, but he's actually having a pretty productive year. Now, he might not play. He's having an injury. He's dealing with some type of concussion protocol thing he's going through, one of the two. So he might not play. If he doesn't play, that'll be huge. That'll be very huge because that's one less offensive playmaker that C.J. Stroud has to go to, and he's a real dynamic one at that. And he has good yards after catch ability in hands. But just like how he might not play, I don't think Juwan Johnson going to play for us. So it's going to be another week of Juwan Johnson not playing. But the good thing is Marcus May is coming back and Andrews Pete is coming back. So, we're going to have to make the best of Marcus May and Andrews Pete return to the lineup in whatever, their matchups they're going to have to take. I feel like this is going to be a game that's going to really show if we turn the corner because it's just too much roller coaster with Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael. Like Pete Carmichael, you could just look at the press conferences and just see that he's just a timid man. He's just a timid guy. He's not no, you know, in front of the camera type of guy. He's like a behind the scenes man, and he's real just conservative. And I think that conservative, is into his play calling. We ran motions and we ran play actions, but I think the motions has caused us to have more penalties than we would like to see. Like, yeah, we beat the Patriots, but the only glare that we seen was a lot of flags, a lot of false starts. And I think that Pete Carmichael is going to see that and say, well, we're doing all these motions, but what come with motions means more flags, more potential risk of flags, I would say. So if it's more potential risk of flags, just practice it more. That's all I say. Just practice it more. Like, we got to get it down pat because we just can't be in a stagnant offense. We can't. Now, will they still, keep the same number of motions, or will they go up? That remains to be seen. But I hope that we, even double up the motions. I want a lot of motions, and I definitely want to see more play actions. But the only way that play action is going to work is if we open up, the run game. Like, we got to open up the run game and get AK more involved. I want AK and I want Michael Thomas to be the focal point of this offense. Like, I want the offense to move it specifically through them. Olave is good, but I feel like, Michael Thomas is just that trustworthy vet. He's that efficient, trustworthy vet. Like, he has the hands, and you don't need to be a dynamic, high-flying wide receiver one. Like, that narrative, that just going on, you ain't got to be that, to be a productive wide receiver one. Look at the Chargers. Justin Herbert, he making do with Keenan Allen, and Keenan Allen is in his 30s, and they still putting up high-scoring games. We ain't complaining about Marcus Colston. We was putting up high scoring games. We ain't complaining about that with Michael Thomas himself. He broke the record with the most catches in the season. So you ain't gotta be a high flying, dynamic wide receiver to be productive or to be the number one receiver on your team. And you just gotta be able to catch the ball. That's the main thing a wide receiver is supposed to do. So that whole narrative of just being this high-flying, dynamic, Justin Jefferson type of wide receiver, man, it don't have to be that, So, but I think that Chris Olave gonna bounce back. I do think the toe injury, is kind of like, hindering him. I do think he's in his head, mentally things are hindering him, but we don't need that hindering, coming from our number one wide receiver. That's why I think that Michael Thomas need to be it. Now, next season, whether Michael Thomas is on the team or not, I do think Olave need to take that next step, and he need to be that true number one wide receiver, and he'll be the focal point of the offense, as far as in the passing game. And in the run game, I do think that Alvin Kamara need to be, more seen, A lot of people, contrary to popular belief, this dude could run up the middle. The only thing different between this year and last year, we got a quarterback, one healthy, and we got wide receivers, that that can make the defense just, got to respect our deep ball. So that make a difference. And a healthy O-line. So now, speaking of the O-line, with the O-line, I feel like Doug Marrone need to be, still held to the fire. Like, we had Pete to the fire. I think Doug Marrone still need to be held to the fire because it's just a lot of missed assignments and miscommunication along the offensive line. Like, I feel like the talent is there. It's just miscommunication and missed assignments and things of that nature. And, they even got, like, Trevor Penning. Like, they saying that he's doing well in pass blocking, but he's regressed in his run blocking ability. Like we've been wanting him to do better at the pass because we already know he had the run down pat, but now he's regressed at the run. Like, he missed at least 10 blocks of this last game. And on top of that, we ran the ball 83 times to the right side of our offensive line to only 49 times to the left side. That means teams going to pick up on that, and we're going to be predictable. Like, every time we run, they're going to know it's going to be towards our right side. And we can't just be predictable. Like, that's the last thing you want as an offense. We cannot do that. We cannot let teams, get that one up on us. Now, if we predictable and you can't stop it, that's different. But if we predictable and it's kind of easy to stop, that's another thing. So they're talking about benching Trevor Penning. Like, when you bench a rookie, it's kind of like a wake-up call. But when you bench a vet, it's kind of like, okay, well, we're going to probably try to look and see what else where we could go. But when you bench a rookie, it's just kind of like a wake-up call until he get his stuff together. So I'm thinking they might put Hurst at left tackle and they might put Pete at left guard. One thing about Pete, he could block. He could block very well. It just, when he get beat on pass blocking, he get beats bad, and it's stand out and stick to somebody in their subconscious, But other than that, when it comes to pulling, when it comes to swinging and all that, the dude is very athletic. He could block very well. So when he gets put back in the lineup, we could start running more to the left side. We could start creating these holes for Alvin and Kendrick, because we got some dynamic, skilled running backs that can make plays. Like, they can make plays with a bad offensive line. So just think what they can make out of a above average offensive line in the run game. So all I know is, as far as Trevor Penning go, man, his development just, when you think you got it going on, it's just always going to be something that bring him down. Like, at first we were just getting acclimated to him getting a lot of reps because we knew he was raw and he was just trying to get that pass blocking game up. But now he got the pass blocking game a little better, but at the same time, he regressed in the run game. And even he's been playing well, but he's still been getting a lot of help. Like, on that pass play to Chris Olave, that touchdown, Foster Monroe was helping Penning with his man. Like, we're taking the tight ends out of the game plan because they're helping with chipping a lot. Like, that can't just happen all season. Like, it's just that's just an extra O lineman at that point. We can't just do all this chipping. At some point, he's going to have to hold his own, or he's going to have to get benched. And I think this is that wake-up call. And that's kind of good that I'm seeing Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael actually do something, like, before it just get drastic. Because the last thing we need is Carter get hurt, or we get stagnant and just keep running to the right, can't run to the left because, Penning just keep on messing up. And I was just giving Penning his flowers, well, I ain't gonna say his flowers, but his appreciation for, improving every week. But, man, it's just, it all, if it ain't one thing, it's the next. And the last thing you want is just a shuffled offensive line, because then it's gonna be hard to get cohesion with everyone. So, I feel like, Pete Carmichael, I hope he still run these motions. We're going to have to just get better with these penalties on pre-snap. And, if they do make the switch to Hurst, I'm cool with that. Like, to me, Hurst is a way better tackle than a guard, because guard, he just been playing bad. But I ain't going to fault him too hard on that, because he been playing tackle all last year. So it's like, he done got way accustomed to that. And he been playing guard on a left guard and a right guard, because, Pete and Ruiz, and with all those injuries, it just having him been bouncing all around. So it's like you get mad at Hurst, but then you think like, well, this guy is do a multitude of different things. Like, he's the Taysom Hill of the offensive line right now. But at the same time, I feel like as long as they being proactive with something, that's all I could respect that. I could respect that out of Dennis Allen. I could respect that out of Pete Carmichael if they going this way, because I'm feeling like Pete Carmichael, he's not a good play caller, but at the same time, a lot of stuff been limiting. Like, when you trying to call plays, but you can't really put the tight end in matchups that you want, because you got to have him helping out the left tackle. Like, all that's just bad, man. All that's just bad. It just messes up the play calling. It, like, certain plays that you'll go to in this certain particular moment, you probably got to scrap that play because you got to send help in other matchups. But yeah, man, Pete Carmichael, hopefully the motion still get up. Hopefully Doug Marrone, he get this offensive line going better. Whatever decision they choose to do with Penning. And man, I just want a roller coaster season to be just done with, because last year was just We win one, we lose one. We win one, we lose two. We win one, we lose two. Then we win two, we lose. Like all that, we don't need. We don't need that no more. Like we need to get this ball rolling and stack up the wins. And when it comes to our schedule, yes, our schedule is weak, but at the same time, I could live with having a weak schedule as long as we dominate. Like when you got a weak schedule, you look at your schedule and you say, okay, well, we got a weak schedule. We ain't really got no games that we could say, okay, yeah, this is a measuring stick game, like how the Cowboys had their measuring stick game against the 49ers. We seen what happened. Us, we ain't really got no measuring stick games, but if we could dominate all our opponents and win the games we definitely supposed to win, that's kind of like your measuring stick. It's like, okay, well, you playing all these sorry teams and you dominating them. That's basically your measuring stick right there. Now, if you playing these sorry teams and you losing and you do win, but you barely won, that's kind of like your measuring stick too. Like you kind of see like, okay, well, you barely escaping these wins. Yeah, a win is a win, but sometimes it get context. Like, how did you win? What type of fashion? But Pete Carmichael and Dennis Allen, they got something to prove. Like they beat a weak opponent in the Patriots. Let's see what we do with a much better opponent in the Texans. And I think we'll beat the Texans. I think that our defense versus C.J. Stroud, I think we could put him in check. Yeah, of course he's going to make plays here and there because he's just a good quarterback. He's going to make plays. He's going to do a few scrambles. He's going to extend some drives. He's going to throw a couple of passes downfield. There'll be some catches, but I think overall we should handle him pretty easily. You know, I ain't gonna say easily, but I think we should be able to handle him enough to get the dub. Put it like that. And my score prediction, I got us winning 23 to I'll say 17. 23 to 17. I want to see more from the offense though. I definitely want to see more red zone scoring. I definitely want to see a 300-something yard game from Carr because they have some good run defense, but their pass defense is not all that. So I definitely want to see like a 300 yard game from Carr with a few touchdowns. I think the receivers are going to have a good game. I think Taysom Hill might have a good game. But Pete Carmichael and Dennis Allen, I mean, this your time. Like, it's a reason why we on these rankings, and well, it's the reason why we not on these power rankings. And you know, Saints fans, we get mad, but we get mad because the way they are making these rankings, they looking at three things: quarterback, offensive coordinator, and head coach. If two out of three is not, just hot shot names, then you ain't gonna get no love on these power rankings. And that's why we don't get no love, because of Derek Carr, because of Dennis Allen, and because of Pete Carmichael. Like, these people talk around in the NFL, and everybody knows who everybody is, you know. And your resume gonna speak for itself. So I think that we'll get this win right here. Next week is gonna be on a short week. We got the Jaguars next on Thursday night. So I think Jawan probably not going to play this game, and they're going to save him for the Jaguars game since it's a short week, and they don't want to tweak his calf or hamstring injury. And, you know, I think they're going to pretty much just save him and play him on that Thursday night game since it's a short week. But it's going to be a big test right here for the defense. Don't let this mobile quarterback get you. Don't let this rookie quarterback get you. In the offense, we're going to see if last week was just a little fraud. If it was just some fraud game plan or not. Because there's a reason why I think Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael ain't want to be on what's the show? Hard Knocks? Yeah, it's the reason. They ain't want to get exposed from the frauds they are. They don't want that camera on them showing how they communicate with the players, showing how they talk, showing their mannerisms. They don't want that exposure. They don't want it because everybody can just see straight through the bull. But what you think, Texans? I mean, what you think about the Texans and the Saints matchup? What you think the score going to be? Give me y'all predictions. And what y'all think about the offensive line? You think it's going to be a good move to put Penning on the bench, or you think he just need to just go through the growing pains and get these reps? That's going to be the only way he's going to get better. What y'all think? Is it good to be proactive, or y'all think he should give the guy more time? Let me know down in the comment section below.